And tell us, what are we going to do outside? What are you going to show us? For people that never have heard of Knees Over Toes Guy, what's about to happen?
All right. So we're going to look at just the backwards concept. So I've kind of narrowed it into like what I think is most important. So like if I could only teach 4 things the rest of my life, I'd be very okay if these 4, and I'm going to show them, were all that I could teach. I'd be very okay with that. So first is just the backwards concept applied to the knees and the muscles and the tendons relating to protecting our knees from pain and injury. And then number 2 is the tibialis, which we'll look at because it's so gentle that this is the thing that even the people who don't believe in knees over toes, even they agree on that. It's so gentle and it's a muscle right under your knee. And then the third thing is going to be this idea of being pain-free and able to fully bend your knees, which is another often in the knees over toes realm is don't go all the way down, or, you know what I mean? So we're just going to look at that and how anyone, can do these things. And then the last thing is we're going to look at how easy it is to actually get pretty bulletproof behind your knee, which is like, in terms of right behind your knee, you're going to be amazed at how this could be implemented. All 4 of these things could be implemented across all sectors of society. Certain of these in little kids' gym classes and certain in elderly. So do you mind if we go take a look?
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's do this. I'm excited.
All right. So hopefully the connection stays good out here. Lucky says hello.
What's up, Lucky?
Lucky's my coach.
You've got the man cave dream going on there, Ben. Everybody wants your setup there.
So I set this here, so it should show everything that I set up here. And the first thing I was going to look at, which it's okay if you don't see my face, but the first thing I was going to look at is just this idea of going backwards. So you see how if I want to step backwards, see how my knee is over my toes? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So if I just walk backwards, that would be the lowest level of knees over toes. And obviously if I strapped something to my waist and I dragged it, or if I put my butt against a treadmill and I had to spin this wheel, it's a knees over toes test. So that was just the first thing I wanted to show, is just this concept of backwards. And if we look at that, we'll take it a little bit farther here. I just kind of set up everything in one spot. So let's simulate that I'm going downstairs, right?
Yeah.
Am I still in the frame there?
Yes, you are.
All right. So to go downstairs, the knee has to go over the toe. Now, this is a really cool time to explain how every exercise scales. Meaning, even for someone who can't go down the steps without pain, you could use assistance and you could pump out reps of this at your level until you could do it without holding on to anything. And then in my case, I end up adding weights to those, and then I can jump super high. So it's a scale from, like, elderly should have steps set up and should have things to balance and should be working on the knee over the toe. So you see why that's principle 1. Like, even with that, if all I could teach was that, getting people to go backwards and to actually work on reverse step-ups as an exercise that scales from less than your own body weight, and you start to feel these muscles burning, and you do load your patellar tendon so that it can develop and get stronger. A lot of people don't realize, because we don't look at them, we just see the muscles. We don't realize that the tendons have the same growth properties that muscles have. But if we don't put the pressure there, the tendons are going to be very weak. So I think this is kind of the modern athlete. I would call it like external development, but not internal. So they may look good, but they're going to be having knee pain and surgeries just dropping like crazy. So I think in terms of build from the internal and build from the ground up. Just by taking a step backwards, you're now pushing through your foot. Whereas when you walk forwards, you're more receiving the blow. Like, forwards is more receiving it, expressing that power. Backwards is actually right from that big toe. It's strengthening the exact opposite. And you said you hadn't tried it. I want you to let me know when you try the 5 minutes straight on the treadmill that's not turned on and get that wheel spinning backwards. It's the most marvelous leg workout. And without realizing it, you're also strengthening through your feet. Now, I do most of my workouts like without shoes on. I think in year one of training, I think someone should wear like a more minimal shoe. And then you could look after that. And I just do that in training. I'm still like a normal guy or whatever. But the point is that I like to let those ankles and feet free. It's a smaller point, but it allows you also to look at what's occurring. So I think that concept is huge. Go backwards, do reverse step-ups at your pain-free level. Boom. It's just money in the bank towards less knee pain, towards doing, now it's like, oh, I couldn't, go down steps or whatever. But like you actually can train that the same way you can train a bicep or anything else. So that's concept one. Concept two is the idea of strengthening the muscle right below your knees. So most of us in our entire lives will never lift a weight with our feet like this.
Right.
So how much sense does that make? If you have a certain genetic frame and now you do all this resistance training and you develop shoulders and biceps and pecs, and you don't develop this muscle right under your knees. And that muscle starts right under the outside of the patella and it wraps around to that inner shin, which if you've ever felt, a lot of people have felt this pain in here when they run and stuff. That's where that muscle attaches in. Now, this is just part of it, but if you looked at running, and if you just put these two concepts together, those reverse step-ups, going backwards, and now concept two of strengthening the muscle underneath there, you could effectively wipe out shin splints as well. Like shin splints is a math equation. Knee pain is a math equation. How much load is going in versus how strong are we from these areas? And I have endless tutorials on how to start that without equipment. You can actually start it by just putting your back against a wall. Someone could go on YouTube right now and just search knees over toes guy tibialis raise. I leave that video public so anyone can see and anyone can start. And I promise you'll be on fire here by the end of 25 reps. It's right under our knees. So it's like, this is the one that like, even if you don't believe in knees over toes, we still believe in muscles and physics. So there's not an advantage to being weak here. There's no studies on strengthening it, so I can't speculate for someone what they might achieve. All kinds of good stuff happen for our feet, ankles, Achilles, shins, knees, when we think, okay, I want to be the strongest guy in the gym right here. So that's number two. So again, if all I could teach was backwards, reverse step-ups, that's in one category of just, if all I could teach people was going backwards and strengthening the tibialis, I'd be totally fine with my career. And then the slant board makes it easy to see a deep squat. So we kind of see an inverse ratio in society between how weak people are and how little we deep knee bend and how many knee surgeries and how much knee pain we have.